Hey, it's Virginia. I've been a medical writer and content creator since 2020, and I'm a registered UK pharmacist, and I've been registered since 2014. So in this video, I'm going to answer this question, which is about how to find clients and also if LinkedIn will help you get noticed. So here's a question. Thanks for replying. I'm aspiring to become a medical writer, and I'm currently working as a senior clinical research associate. If possible, can you provide suggestions on how to begin with and reach out to potential clients? And additionally, if I post my content regularly on LinkedIn in my selected niche, will that be of any help in landing an opportunity? I would be grateful to you. Thanks in advance. So, to answer this question, the first part is how to begin with reaching out to potential clients. Now, before you reach out to potential clients, there are a few things that you want to have in place before you start going and essentially advertising your skills and services to your clients. Because if you approach a client and you seem unprepared, then they're not really going to notice you and they're more likely to go with someone who is more prepared. So how do you prepare yourself before you reach out to clients? So the first thing I would do is definitely have some writing samples that you can share with the client. Now, if you want to go into regulatory medical writing, this is probably a bit more tricky because you won't have any samples, but what you could do is you could summarize some literature or research papers. And I would say that it's a really good skill to do that because also if you can pick out certain statistics, you can talk about things like p-values and also, the significance of the data and then also maybe how you think things can be improved, then I would recommend that you do that as part of your maybe writing sample or portfolio. And then if you're trying to go more into educational or creative types of medical writing, then I would say those are much easier to get into and you can write samples like you can create a blog on your specific interests. So for me, that was travel health blogs and I'm a pharmacist. So I wrote about things that I would give advice to people in the pharmacy. So for example, how to treat a rabies bite or why you might need a rabies vaccine if you're going to specific parts of the world or depending on what you're doing when you're traveling. And I would also say if you're doing educational type work, then think about who you're trying to educate. So are you trying to educate a member of the public or a patient or a healthcare professional, or is it a fellow researcher or scientist? So that will also help you decide how you write your writing samples. So once you've got some writing samples or some kind of summary of skills that you can present to someone, then you need to package that nicely and professionally, because keep in mind that medical writing is quite competitive, especially if you want to do remote work, because a lot of people want to do it. So you want to try and present yourself in the highest regard possible. And then the second thing I would do is make sure that your LinkedIn profile is fully filled out. So what that means is you've got a professional banner that says, what are your goals in what you do? So for me, that's helping to educate the public with educational information on health through medical writing and also educational videos. And I've got that in my banner and also some logos of people that I've worked with. And then I would also say having a professional photo is really important as well. So try not to have like a holiday photo where you've got a drink in your hand, or try not to have a photo where you've got other people in the photo with you, because we need to know which one is you and we don't really want to be guessing. And also your headline on your LinkedIn profile needs to be really clear. So who are you and what do you do? So for me, I'm a pharmacist, I'm a medical copywriter. And so for you, that might be I'm a clinical research associate and aspiring medical writer. And I would say think about putting the type of medical writing that you're interested in as well. So if that's regulatory medical writing or educational medical writing, and maybe you want to write educational pieces for healthcare professionals. So that could be in your headline as well. And then I would say after you've got that on your LinkedIn sorted out, then make sure you've got some writing samples in your featured section. And then also you've filled out all of your education and work history sections as well. So that's really important so that they're accurate and easy to understand. Then I would also say that if you can get some recommendations from people that you've worked with or you're currently working with at the moment, that would be really helpful for someone to see that other people have worked with you and they have a good opinion of you as well. And I would say that after you've got your LinkedIn profile and your writing sample sorted, then you definitely want to have your CV ready as well. So make sure you've got your history of work there and you've also got relevant key skills and you've also got examples of how you can demonstrate those key skills. So for me, I can say things like, I write scripts for videos and they get thousands of views, and I've worked with this person and that person. And for you, you can say that you work on specific topics, maybe in research, and then who do you actually work with and who reviews your work and what kind of things you do in terms of like writing tasks as well. And maybe what kind of tools do you use as well. So that could be things like Microsoft Word, or maybe you use a statistics tool. So I had to use a statistics tool when I was doing my Master of Pharmacy to actually do a meta-analysis for my master's. And I would say those kinds of specific skills that are tailored to the type of medical writing that you want to do are really important to include. And then the next thing I would do is, now you're ready to actually reach out to clients. So when you're reaching out to clients, you can say, hey, I'm looking to work with these kinds of people. So maybe you're looking to work with a charity and maybe in a specific topic. So some people really want to work with women's health charities, and some people want to work with mental health charities. And I would say reaching out to charities or nonprofits are probably the easiest to reach out to first, because then you can volunteer your time. And then because you've done that, then they are hopefully going to be able to give you a nice recommendation to say that you're nice to work with and you're professional, and then also you're really helpful as well. And I would say if you can find agency work or maybe even some short projects through freelance platforms, now you can reach out to agencies directly on LinkedIn, but a freelance platform might be where that agency hangs out anyway. So I used to go on Upwork, and then I've also gone on other platforms like Juno, but that might be a bit more challenging to get into because you require insurance and lots of references, and you need to validate all the different emails with people that you've worked with. So that can be something that is probably a next step after you get your first clients. So when you reach out on LinkedIn, you've got 5 notes that you can add to a connection request. And I would say use those 5 notes per month wisely. So make sure that you actually research the agency or the company that you want to do medical writing with, and then make sure that you write a note. I think it's about 300 characters. That includes maybe a link to your portfolio, and they've already got your LinkedIn because you're messaging them through LinkedIn. But it means that when they check you out on LinkedIn, then they can see, okay, this is a person who's taking work seriously and they're very professionally presented. And then I would say that you can also go to the agency website as well, and you can use the contact page. You can, again, send your link to your portfolio and your LinkedIn and your CV as well. And you can also go to some recruitment agency websites, and sometimes they'll have a page where you can just drop off your CV. And in your CV, make sure that you have a link to your LinkedIn and your portfolio. And then I would say that you can also reach out to recruiters directly on LinkedIn as well. So sometimes recruiters will post actual job adverts and they'll put their email in their posts. So if you go on a recruiter's LinkedIn page, check out their most recent post, see if they have an email on there and what kind of work they are offering. And if you join the International Medical Writers Association, we do post a lot of those posts in the group. So then you'll have like a kind of like a live stream of posts every single day from all over the world, depending on where you want to work. So sometimes jobs can be remote, sometimes they'll be, you have to live in that country to do the job. So do check what kind of jobs the recruiters post about. And I would also say that if you are posting, just to answer the final part of your question, if you are posting regularly on LinkedIn, it's really nice to have that post history on your profile so people can see what kind of things you write about, what kind of things are important to you, and what kind of person you're like. I would say try to keep it more professional rather than personal, but if you can mix the two, then that just gives you a bit more of a personality and makes you a bit more human as well. So I know there are a lot of people who are actually using AI to help them write posts, and I would try to avoid doing that because otherwise your posts are going to sound really similar to other people. But usually if someone is really interested in you to work with you rather, then I would say your LinkedIn posts are a really great representation of how you communicate as well. So I would say make sure that you are maybe summarizing papers that you've read or books or maybe events that you've been to or people that you've spoken to or maybe your opinion on something. And again, this is all around kind of like the niche that you want to be in. So for me, I talk a lot about making health information accessible, and also brands that I've worked with. And that's probably something that you can aspire to write about as well. So you can say, I would love to work with a company that supports this cause. Here's why this cause is really important to me. And so maybe that brand will reach out. So try to think of ways that people will actually understand what you're about and post about it, essentially. So I think hopefully what I've said will help you. And also don't give up, because I remember 5 years ago when I started posting on LinkedIn and I was like, what am I doing? I have no idea what's going on. And I would say that LinkedIn was a bit more of just like an online CV 5 years ago, but now it's more of like a community. And I'm in the LinkedIn kind of UK Europe editorial team group, and I'm not part of the team. I'm just in the community that they manage. And what they're looking for is people talking from experience. So if you're going to write a generic post like, 3 things to look for when you're reading a research paper, that's not really going to be helpful. I would say maybe you read a research paper and say, here are 3 things I noticed about this research paper. And then explain like why are those the top 3 things, maybe what's important about those 3 things, and give people something to think about and also to comment on. So LinkedIn really wants people to start conversations, essentially. So I hope you found that helpful. And if you want to learn more about how to find clients, then I do have a course on that. You can check out a link in the description box below. And I can also review the pitch that you want to send to a client, because you've only got 5 that you can send for free on LinkedIn each month. So again, you got to use them wisely. And so if you want help with that, let me know. I've also got a course on how to create a portfolio where I review your portfolio, and also a course on LinkedIn. So if you want help on how to create an awesome LinkedIn profile and what to post on LinkedIn, then I review that as well. So check those out in the video description box, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you for watching. Bye.